Brandon.
Hello, Dr. Hewitt. My question for you is, in this last Jeff Cody recall election, I think about 38% of the eligible Republican electorate came out and voted. I could be very wrong on those numbers, but it was fairly low. In your mind, what can the Republicans do leading up in this next year to the election to motivate the electorate, both Republican and undecided, to vote for the candidates so we don't have another Democratic sweeper?
Brandon is one of my students here at Colorado Christian University. This is what I have to deal with, smart students. I hate that. You know, I like law students. They're like gerbils. What do I have to know? What do I have to know? I have to pass the bar. I have to pass the bar. No, undergraduates, they want to have answers and thinking. I was surprised by the result. I was surprised by the result because there was a Centennial Institute retreat that John invited me to, in which I heard a presentation on the polling. And so I don't know how anyone votes for teachers' unions to run schools. What we have in America is a collapsed education system because of teachers' unions. But, talking with a pollster in the back, beforehand, 5-to-1 outspent, right?
Yes.
5-to-1. And there are a lot of low information voters. There just are, and they come in, and if a teachers union flyer lands in your basket and it says X, Y, and Z are terrible people, it's a little bit of information as opposed to X, Y, and Z not having any information out there. So, building a campaign structure in Colorado, this is completely coincidental, but James, the new incoming director of Centennial Institute, was the director of the Romney Coalition effort. And my son worked for him. Now, John Andrews did not know that when he hired James, but it's a small world. And my son worked for him at CU.
And now you're conflating James and Jeff just like
Jeff, I'm sorry, did it again. Jeff Hunt. So James Hewitt is my son. Jeff Hunt is the new incoming director. So Jeff ran the coalitions here, and James is my son. And James called me the night of the Red Rock thing. He was as excited as he could be. Because he worked his butt off for Romney for 6 months. As student senior up at CU, and he was working for Jeff. He said, we're going to win this thing. I said, how do you know you're going to win? You should see this crowd at Red Rock. I've been here for 6 hours and they've closed the roads, and Jeff brought it up on the radio tonight. How many of you were there? At Red Rock. So everybody thought, and then they did it, you know, Fiddler on the Green or whatever you call that place. They had another blowout rally. And, as Jeff said on the radio tonight, he was on a conference call with the Romney people. They were going to win Colorado by 4 points. They lost by 5. And there was structure, there was organization. What in the heck happened? To go be 9 points off. We're not talking to the right people. Now, I happen to believe that Latino community outreach is the single most important element of an electoral victory. Because they are the most up for grabs of any voters in America. And all you have to do is show up and talk. Not about them, not about immigration, but show up in their communities and talk and be a part of it and not be afraid of a bilingual community, not be afraid of Telemundo or Univision, not be afraid of Spanish language newspapers, not be afraid. And we win. That's why, by the way, Cruz and Rubio, I loved it. Rubio said the other day, anyone notice that 3 out of the 4 leading people in the Republican primary are minorities?
Yeah.
Anyone notice it's Carson, Cruz, and Rubio? And the billionaire, he's a minority too, there aren't many billionaires. So, if we keep doing that, any of those 4 people will be comfortable in those new communities. So I think we need to go places that we don't normally go. I mean, we normally come here. We like CCU. We like you. It's an older audience, a more affluent audience, more educated audience, easier to talk to. Tougher for me to go to a Latino community where half the people are not speaking great English and some of them are sketchy legal status, and talk about economic growth and how the country is great and why you're here and why you want to stay here. That's what we have to do. Yes, sir.
Tell us who beat Ohio State last. Go Hokies.
We have a plant in the front of the audience. There was an upset last year at this time when the Virginia Tech Hokies did manage to eke out an upset win over the eventual first ever national champions by playoff, #1 rated Ohio State, the Ohio State University Buckeyes. But I recognize and salute Hokies, but they didn't do so well this year, did they? Anyone know the score of the Browns game, by the way?
10-17. Yeah.
What?
10-17.
Who's got the 17?
Bengals.
How's Manziel doing?
Can't tell.
Yeah, no one can. Yeah, that's part of the problem. Yes.
You
you here with Jamie?
I am.
Okay, one of my students in the plant. Okay.
Yes, it is.
You mentioned early on the idea of answering with, "I don't know." When the media, as you mentioned, 95% left-leaning, how do the candidates approach the "I don't know" when the media eats them alive?
It's a great question. I've seen Cruz and Rubio both do this. You repurpose the question, and Christie did it as well. No matter what the question is, you repurpose it to what you want to answer. And so you'll see me do this on Meet the Press on Sunday. No matter what the question is, I did it on this week with George Stephanopoulos, only it wasn't George, it was Martha Raddatz this past weekend. Whatever I want to say, I say. So I have in my mind before I sit down, and Charles Kronheimer taught me this. You go into every broadcast with one point that you want to make. Regardless of what you're asked or what the topic is, you want to make a point. And my point was, before this past ABC, I knew the debate would come up. I have my favorite saying, it's an old Irish saying, when everybody says you're drunk, you better sit down. And so everybody said the media did a bad job, so the media did a bad job. And so I didn't care what it was, I got that out, I got a laugh, I got good cue, is what they call it. Our candidates need to know how to repurpose questions, and if they're asked specifically, I asked Carly Fiorina specifically about the B3 yesterday. I said, Hugh, I don't know about that. I will look into it. But I can tell you this, there's a lot of waste and fraud at the Pentagon. It's not got any, I didn't ask about waste and fraud at the Pentagon, I asked about a strategic bomber. They've got nothing to do with each other. I guess you could cross the lines and they both relate to the Department of Defense. So she kidnapped my question. And that's what you need to have to be able to do, is kidnap questions and refuse to be ransomed. And by the way, if anyone comes after you more than 3 times, they look bad. I've learned this after 25 years. Let it go after 3 times. If they won't answer your question after 3 tries, wave it off. You're going to look bad. Yes, sir.
Do you think Paul Ryan will be able to frame the election as you described? Will he be able to bring the Republican groups together in such a way that he can get stuff passed that will frame the election? I think that's the takeaway for me tonight is that. And that's what I'm really interested in.
I was really excited on Monday when he talked in strategic terms, as opposed to tactical terms. And he was ebullient in his decision to make that move. And he will have some trouble. 9 people voted against him out of 247. That's a very small number. So there are 9 people that are going to give him trouble. But I think there's at least 219 of them that realize we got to win that presidency, or they're here for the wrong reason. And some people are there for the wrong reason. They're there to make money. They're there because they can't get a job. This is all they know how to do. And they're backbenchers and they're seat warmers and they're, but they need to know most of them are there to win the country back. And if Paul Ryan sits down with him and he can communicate, John Boehner didn't make that try. He never tried. And it's because he lacked, it's like asking me, I really haven't played golf in a year. You know why? I hate to play golf. I'm not good at it. And so I play occasionally in a charity tournament if it's a best ball, and but I don't like doing what I'm not good at. And so John Boehner is really bad at interviews and at communicating and speaking. He's really good at going out to have a drink with you and have a cigar. He's really good at golf. He's really good at raising money. He's not good at the press. He's not good at framing. Paul Ryan's skill set is for this moment. And so I think he's going to be successful. And anyone stands in his way, they ought to just clonk him over the head and take him out the back door. All right, we're done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Hugh, just a word from your old boss, Nixon. The minute you joined me in San Clemente, I knew you were like the brilliant son I never had, Hewitt. What an improvement you were on that dull grind Andrews after we got rid of him.
Hugh, we're very proud to have you as a professor and broadcasting from the studios here at the university. Thanks for helping us put Colorado Christian University on the map. This book, The Queen, I wish you'd talked a little bit more about it. It's patterned after Machiavelli's The Prince. Very, truly is, very sly, shrewd advice to Hillary, which is really like a playbook for how we can keep her from becoming president. And it's a fun, fun read. I've been steeped in political books for a long time. This is one of my favorites. You're going to enjoy it. If you'd like to buy it and have the author sign it, exit by that door there at your right. If you need to get on home this evening, you already bought a carload of the Queen and you're distributing them, you're excused and you can leave by that door and not get caught in the scrum around the Hugh Hewitt book signing table. Speaking of a scrum, we're going to have another huge crowd in the event center on Monday night, December 7th for Vice President Dick Cheney. He'll have a conversational style, TV style, long form interview on stage. Interviewed again by our friend Hugh Hewitt. You don't want to miss that. Go to ccu.edu and sign up for Ben Carson because those tickets are going very fast. Once again, we thank our guest. Get the book and we'll see you again soon.